All right. Thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Mubashir. And we are here at Edilume Master Talk. We bring brightest and greatest brains around the world so that they can share their success stories with us, and we can learn from these superior people who have spend their lives in the pursuit of success and in the pursuit of challenging things, and eventually they have achieved what they would wanted to achieve. So with that, please welcome with us, we have Dr. Mubashir, and we would like to straight jump into some questions. So Dr. Mubashir, I mean, you will be new to many people. So would you just give a brief about yourself and the achievements you have done so far?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much for inviting me for this master talk. It is really an honor for me. So my name is Mubashir Hussain Rahmani, and I'm basically from Karachi, Pakistan. And I did my engineering from there in computer systems engineering. And in summary, I did my PhD and master's from France. And I'm right now in Ireland, associated with Munster Technological University, teaching in the Department of Computer Science.
Like, lovely to have you. Tell us about the award you have achieved in the research.
Okay, so basically, my name is there in the highly cited researcher list. So this is the second time that I'm having my name in that list. So basically, this list is annually issued by Clarivat. Clarivat is an organization, or you can say it's a regulatory body in scientific research that regulates in a sense that it manages all the scientific journals, all the scientific research around the globe in all the scientific domains. So whether it's biological sciences or physical sciences or astronomy or computer science or whatsoever, scientific research and inventions, they are reported through journal articles, through scientific research articles, and this Clarivat manages, regulate all of those journals. There are around more than 20,000 journals. So what they normally do is that they have a window of 10 years. So let's say if they are calculating right now the list of highly cited researchers this year, so they will go back for the last 10 years, and they will collect all the researchers around the globe or currently working in the domain, in any domain of science, and there are around 80 lakh in Pakistan, in Urdu, 80 lakh, 8 million people, scientific researchers, scientists, PhDs, postdoc, research associate, all of them. So they collect all of their published research, and they categorize them into their specific domains, scientific domains. So they have 21 branches, major branches of science, including physics, astronomy, mathematical sciences, medicine, computer science. And then once they gather all that data, then they see the top rank 1% articles which are there in the last 10 years. So it's not just a single paper or single contribution. It's the whole duration of 10-year period, and you need to be consistently working on several domains, subdomains within your field, and your research need to be acknowledged and recognized by the international scientific community. So if you conduct some research and try to solve any research problem, then if that problem is scientifically accepted and recognized, so people will start citing it, will start giving reference it, and those people are basically researchers and scientists working in that domain. And in this manner, you will open new doors and horizons of starting new facets of research. So in this manner, they compiled this list. And last year, in 2020, my name was in the list of computer science researchers. There were total 124 or 126 researchers around the globe in the domain of computer science who reached that milestone. And this year, I was able to make my name in cross field, which is multidisciplinary, means my research was on not only on computer science, but they also moved to engineering and telecommunication as well. So this is how they calculate this. And the good thing is that basically they also have, all the 5 Nobel Prize winners, those who received the Nobel Prize this year. They are also in this list of highly cited researchers. But remember that Nobel Prize is not in the domain of computer science. We cannot compare computer science with Nobel Prize winners, and we cannot compare this cited researcher list with the Nobel Prize. Nobel Prize is totally very strong contribution, very world recognized contribution. But this is also another important milestone that I'm proud to have.
Wow, wonderful! It's a wonderful success story, I must say. So it's not like one time you win the match and you say, yes, we are the winner. So it's completely different. It's consistency. It's hard work of 10 years and keep on working. That's wonderful, amazing. I'm sure our listeners have listened to this amazing success story. If we talk about your current achievement, 5 years ago, did you envision that you will be here today? I mean, did you plan for it? Or it just came as the work gets rolled itself?
When I, when you are in the domain of research, you get inspiration from the elders, like big researchers and scientists. So you study their profiles, you see, okay, what they are achieving. But whenever I discuss with my elders and senior researchers and Islamic scholars, they said, don't go for any particular award. Try to focus on your work. If your work is having quality, if it has an impact and you are doing a good quality work, it will automatically attract all those things. So don't go for any particular award or any certificate. Just focus on your work. Be consistent. Be very much excel. Make excellence in your field, and you will have. So just to summarize that, no, I never thought that I would be able to achieve that. No.
All right. So it's not really a struggle of getting an award. It's just the contribution, the sincere and honest contribution to the field of research in your domain. That's wonderful. Yes. A question people usually ask is, did you ever come across in your career where you were confused about what you should be doing next in your life? Was there a moment? Have you ever been confused?
Not confused in a sense, but in every aspect of your life, you have options in front of you, and sometimes it's taking decisions is difficult. For example, when I was in the last year of my engineering, I was thinking that just quit my engineering and go for tabligh or try to become an alim and get admission in a madrasa and try to learn about deen. So when I went there, asked the ulama ikram and muftiyan ikram, they suggested me just focus on your field, on your work, and do not quit it, and try to get excellence in your field. So things like that came into my life. And similarly, after completing my engineering degree, I thought to go for to get admission in a madrasa. But again, I was suggested that try to work in an industry, try to get an exposure. Although the salary was just 6,000 rupees per month, which is very low at that time for the engineering graduate. But they said that no, try to get experience, and later on try to go abroad, try to excel in your field, try to learn, try to make the name of your country and make everyone proud of it. So we face normally, I normally face such things during my life, and in every aspect you have to take the decision, and I always consult to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by doing istikhara and getting advice from the elders to make the right decision.
Lovely. So this is the lesson for, I think, all of us. So we look towards our mentors, we look towards our creator, and we seek advice and blessings, and then we decide about something. It's great, a great lesson. Coming to the next question about writing. So you must have written millions of words in the last 10 years, I would say. You must have. If we say that you have blackened so many papers or so many digital binary words, you have actually destroyed by writing so much of it. So writing seems to be your passion. So if someone wants to be a good writer, for instance, what one should do about it? Any ideas, any advice?
So basically, I was fortunate to have interacted with professors from US and other countries, and they trained me. So when I was thinking about writing, they, for one single draft, we made 10, 10, 12, 12, 15, 15 revisions on a single paragraph, on a single draft. And it is besides, the technical scientific contribution, that is one thing. And presenting that scientific contribution to the public and in the form of writing, and to make your argument stronger, it's another art. So it's practice, a lot of practice. And the major thing is that when you should not adopt Gigo approach. Gigo is garbage in, garbage out. Means when you read a low quality material, writings, your capacity will not be developed. So what they were recommending is that try to increase your intellectual capacity and capability. Try to read top quality scientific journals, top quality research by the great researchers. And when you read those things, your intellectual capacity increase, and you start thinking of how they think. And then reading a lot, it helps a lot, definitely.
All right. So the key to become a great writer is to read a lot and read quality content. So if you read quality content and read a lot, and then practice writing more and more around the domain, then one can be a successful writer. Great. So what are you planning to achieve next, or this is the end game for you? I mean, being the top cited researcher.
No, I thought about that. I always get advice from the elders is that just focus on your work. Try to get more excellence in your work. Don't go for any particular milestones. So I just want to focus on my current technical scientific problems, the research that I'm dealing with. I'm currently supervising few PhD students, and there are a lot of other academic activities. So whatever I do, I should try to excel in those things. Let's say if I'm delivering a lecture or module, try to excel in that. Try to learn more teaching methodology and pedagogical material. And if I'm conducting some research, try to see the impact of that research. Try to further enhance it. So I don't have any further specific goals in terms of achieving, let's say, any particular grade or any particular medal. Definitely in my field there are a lot of awards and medals and things like that. So the wish come into my mind, but only the wish cannot help me to get those medals and awards. It requires efforts. So the main thing is to focus on those efforts instead of just dreaming about them.
All right. So it's all you're saying that you will continue to put the same kind of hard work you have been putting in your work, which awarded you this distinguished medal, and you will continue to do so, and the reward will follow. Great. One more thing is very common, like how people see failure. Failure demotivates you most of the time. If we try to achieve something and we can't achieve, we try to start a business and we fail, we try to pursue a career, we don't get the job opportunity, things like that. So failure is part of kind of like success. Do you agree to this statement? And if
Yes.
someone fails in what he's trying to do, what he should be doing differently, or what advice you would give him?
So considering this in the scientific research or in the domain where I'm working, definitely, let's say if you see one article published, you don't know how many times that article was revised, was enhanced, and was rejected. So rejection is just like a failure. But the thing is that you try to learn, okay, if I write an article, scientific article, if I try to solve a research problem, and when I presented that in front of researchers and scientists, and they pointed out flaws in that. So I do not just keep arguing with them. I try to take their arguments, their reservations in a positive manner, and try to enhance my work, try to enhance my weaknesses, and take the failures as an opportunity to grow further. That is what my approach is, and that approach has been communicated to me by ulama ikram and Islamic scholars and muftiyan ikrams and elders. So whenever I made any I made any mistake, or when I make any failure, discuss with them and get their advice. And the advice is that just keep focusing and try to improve your work, and hopefully success will be yours.
So it means the failure is part of the success. So when you go along, you will meet failures, you feel rejection, you will feel rejected, but that's not the stopper. So you need to continue moving on, learn from your mistake, or learn from your failure, and that's the step forward. Thank you for that. Based on what you just explained, like this award, what you get was actually 10 years of like effort and the hard working. And surely someone needs to plan and organize himself, his day in, day out. So would you talk about your planning ability? How do you plan your work, or the work that you have in front of you? How you plan your day, or you plan your week or a month? And how do you plan your future?
Yes, so basically planning has different steps. One is immediate planning. For example, when I plan for today and for the next immediate day. And definitely I have some short-term plans as well. For example, meeting any deadlines for next 3 months or next 6 months. And there's a long-term planning for the next 5 to 10 years. So I have all the plans laid out for today, tomorrow, to the long-term plans. And as far as my day is concerned, I prefer to go early in the bed and rise earlier, and just make barakah, and try to recite Quran and Surah Yasin. This will give barakat in my day, and this is how I try to organize. And it's not just only I'm focusing on my work. Alhamdulillah, I have family, kids, and I also have to give them time, quality time. So when I get advice from the elders, they say that, okay, make a schedule of your week, of your day. Try to give certain quality time to your kids, to your family. Go outside, go enjoy with them, and also when you do anything, just focus on that thing. For example, when I'm outside with the kids, so try to enjoy it. When I'm working in the office, so focus on that thing, and try to. I personally try to avoid a lot from the social media. Although right now there's a huge presence of mine on LinkedIn or Twitter, but I was not there on Facebook, and even I didn't have the mobile phone during my PhD. I was not using. I was focusing on my work. So that is the thing. If you look at people, they try to give more time to more constructive things. I'm not denying about anything else. If people can manage social media and their activities, that is fine. But personally, I try to focus on work.
All right. So basically what you're saying is like organizing or scheduling your day is also very important for if anyone wants to be more productive. So he should like split he has to attend to his family, he has to attend to his work, so he can focus on one thing at a time, like multi-focusing at the same time, and lots of distraction can be avoided if you distribute your day properly and give each time of the day to work, to the family. And great, thank you very much. One more question about the success. Not everybody achieves success. Everybody works hard, but there are few people who are actually on top of the game. So how do you stay ahead of the curve? If you talk about yourself, how to stay ahead of the curve, be ahead of, on top of the game, in whatever we're doing?
It's not an easy task. There's some sacrifice. It requires some sacrifice, and it cannot be achieved in a day or two, or even in few months. So you started your journey, and you keep going, and whatever I'm getting right now, that is the effort that I put in the last 5 years or last 10 years. So it's not just doing the things right now. And when you do the things little bit extra, when you look at the word extraordinary, so ordinary is make some extra. So you try to look at researchers, scientists in your domain, and you see that, okay, what are their habits, how they manage their time, what effort they put. And when I look at researchers and scientists around the globe, particularly when you look at the biographies and you listen the talks of Nobel Prize winners and the big researchers, you say that, okay, I'm doing nothing in comparison.
Okay.
And then you take this positive and try to further squeeze yourself in terms of productivity. Try not to waste the time. We waste a lot of time. I was looking at one Islamic scholar. He wrote the whole translation of Quran in the air. Hazrat Mufti Taqi Usmani Sahab Damat Barakatuhum. So whenever he took the flight, instead of just wasting the time, he started writing the translation of the Quran. So he made his time productive. So making your time productive will make a lot of difference in terms of productivity, in terms of being ahead among others.
Lovely. I think that's a very great approach. Like, don't waste your time, and be constructive and be inspired from other successful people. Like, one of the things that I picked up from what you just explained is, like, you keep getting inspiration from successful people. You read about them, you see how they have achieved so much, what they have been doing, what struggles they have been gone through, and by reading their biographies and their circumstances, their life, you get lots of inspiration. And that's a continuous input. Like, you need to keep surrounding yourself with those inspirations that will motivate you to go ahead, and don't waste your time. So if you just go to Twitter and just keep on like tweeting about here and there and this topic and that topic and spending 1 hour, 2 hours, I mean, you actually don't know where the time is gone. So instead of, like, if you do something constructive in that time, that would be helping us to stay on top of the game, ahead of the curve. Thank you very much for that. Now, if we talk about your technical, this was about for inspiration and motivation for our listeners. So let's move on to the technical side of it. So talking about cybersecurity in today's world, we face real challenges. How to tackle this challenge?
In my opinion, discussing with other prominent researchers in the domain of cybersecurity, awareness is the key thing. I can give you an example. Just some time ago here in Ireland, we had a cyber attack, and the whole health network, the health sector was completely down, and there was no operations, there was no GP consultation. Everything was stuck just because there was an activity by an employee in the health sector, and he or she just click on a link, and that was part of cascading effect on the system, and then the whole ransomware attack was there, and the whole system was down. So education and awareness about the makes a lot of difference. So in my opinion, making awareness among the people who are using the digital content and digital media and internet and all this stuff makes a lot of impact. Even sometime when we receive an email, and when it's very often when we try to click on it, and that can completely destroy, compromise our system if there is a virus. So we always look and do not go for greediness, because those type of attacks are launched in the wrapper of greediness. They offer you, and sometimes there is also social aspect as well. Some cyber attacks are being done as someone drop the USB in front of your home, and you just pick it and let's say, okay, let's insert that USB and see what's there inside. So there are a lot of aspects in that. So the major key thing is awareness, developing awareness to get rid from all such activities.
All right, so we have to make our world a cyber aware world kind of thing, like spreading awareness around how to stay cyber safe. We can remain cyber safe through training and awareness. Good. Thank you very much for that. Would you talk about the career options in cybersecurity? If there may be many career options in cybersecurity today, and if someone wants to start, how he or she should start?
So the main thing is getting a basic degree, undergraduate degree. Once you have an undergraduate degree in mathematics or in computer science or related domain, then you try to do your master's in a big domain, like let's say cybersecurity. So here in my university, we are offering MSc in cybersecurity, and since I belong to the academia, so in front of me, I only see researchers doing research in cybersecurity, but definitely there are other jobs perspectives and career options as well. For example, the industry is lacking, the cybersecurity, and that's why we have a dedicated MSc in cybersecurity alone. There are a lot of cybersecurity related companies that requires the talent, and so the key thing is to try to do some certifications, try to do masters in cybersecurity, and there are still a lot of opportunities available in the cybersecurity domain, ranging from offensive attackers to to protecting your network, to analyzing the social media, and there are a lot of career options in this domain.
All right. Okay, great. So the important thing is like to have a degree in technology or in IT or engineering, some, and then you top up that degree with the master degree in cybersecurity or cyberspace, and certifications are coupled with that. Cybersecurity engineers and ethical hackers. I think these are some careers. Let's switch the topic to your book. The book title cover says blockchain network and communication systems. So we used to see books communication system separately and blockchain separately. Now it seems you try to combine blockchain networks with the communication network. So what's under the hood? What's under the cover of that book?
Yes. So basically, the context of writing that textbook, it is basically a textbook. I'm here delivering a module on distributed ledger technologies, blockchain, and my area of expertise in communication networks and future communication network, future internet architecture. So when I was looking at those and thinking about blockchain, so I also saw that there are a lot of activities going on, because blockchain is nothing more than similar to a database. It has the ability to replace a database. But it has some unique features that distinguish it from traditional database. So if it is a database, so why can't we use it in communication networks? For example, talk about cellular networks. The cellular networks, when you make a call, when you when you perform roaming from one country to another, whether it's within the continent or within another continent. So the tariffs are being recorded. The all the call records and everything is stored in the database. So instead of storing all those things in database, why don't we use blockchain? But there are some practical challenges and issues, and there are definitely some advantages as well. So I thought to investigate in that area, and there are a lot of work going on. So that was the whole theme behind that book. And when I was teaching that module on blockchain, I was also myself taking courses on blockchain and reading books and reading a lot of material so that I can teach that module. I was focusing on how I can teach that module with some presentation. It's not just about theoretical aspect. When a person read about blockchain, they should be able to implement it as well in open source languages like Python or other things. So I was not able to find all that material in a single resource. So I thought to focus in that area. So that was the whole background about that.
Okay. All right. So it means that book now contains some content about communication networks and some content about blockchain, and then bringing it together, and the tools that can make happen, make it happen, like the whole magic that we are expecting in future technologies. Exactly. All right, great, lovely. And for the audience, thank you very much joining us. If you have any question, please type it in chat window, and towards the end of the session, if the time will permit, definitely we will be asking those questions and passing those questions on to Dr. Mubashir here. So talking about the blockchain again, if you have to explain it to dummies, what is blockchain? Dummies like who really don't know what blockchain is. So how would you put it to them?
Okay. So in simple words, let's say when we are making a transaction online, let's say we are trying to buy something from Amazon or purchasing anything from any other website. So when we need some credentials, we need some some debit card or credit card. So when we insert those things, then we buy something that goes to the third party, and that third party is MasterCard or Visa card or the banks. They then check whether my credentials are correct or not, whether my card or bank has the balance or not, and then once they approve, then the transaction is completed, and the amount that I transferred is being delivered to the sender. The party from where I bought the commodity or the stuff, and then I got the thing that I bought. So blockchain says that remove that third party, remove that bank or that debit card or credit card company, and why not I can simply myself making transaction online with Amazon. Why inserting the third party in between? So traditional, in the current internet architecture, we need this third party because it ensures trust. Because over the internet, how you can make ensure trust is there? There are a lot of Facebook accounts or Twitter accounts with dummy credentials, and or whether the person have balance or not. And if you deliver something, how you can make ensure that the amount will be you will receive the amount. So it's the third party, it's that entity, bank or MasterCard company or Visa card company, that gives us guarantee that okay, if something goes wrong, we are responsible there. We are validating the credentials of that person, their balance, and it's some sort of trust. So blockchain says that remove that third party and make a trust paradigm or phenomena without including this third party. I hope I explained that concept.
Okay. So in this case, basically, we're trying to kick out MasterCard or Visa card from their businesses, and so
yes. So
in a way, when it comes to online, so that's a threat. That's why they really don't want to get this be adopted by masses. So to some extent, so simply put it, so there is a buyer and there is a seller. So we buy things online and there is a seller who actually sell the thing. But when we pay online as buyer, so that payment goes through a third party, which is MasterCard and Visa card. And that third party ensures the trust and authenticity of the buyer as well as the seller. So this trust, if it can be established between buyer and seller, and they can make that transaction without this Master and Visa card in between, and that's a kind of thing we're talking about, the blockchain, like trusting each other, two parties trusting each other without any intermediate party.
Exactly.
All right. Okay, good. So any career options you see in blockchain?
There are a lot of certifications. Even some universities have started a master's program in blockchain, and in a lot of PhDs are producing, they are conducting research on blockchain. So there are a lot of prospects in that area. Again, the key thing is to get some basic fundamental degree and have some certification, and then start developing your expertise. If you are interested in blockchain application developments, or if you are interested in any other aspect of blockchain, try to enhance your skills, enhance your skill, and then there can be a lot of options.
Now we switch to the advanced topic of blockchain, which is Web3, WEB3, digit 3, Web3. It's a blockchain-based internet. So what are your thoughts on Web3? How do you see its future? Or internet futures, I would say. Yeah.
You just mentioned just before the question that the big companies, they are highly resisting. So when you are talking about blockchain, so blockchain not only will replace those those entities, but they are also somehow removing the role of banks. To transfer money from one country to another. It's the bank that is playing the role of third party. So you are saying that, okay, I'm directly making the transaction with that person. So the role of the bank, it's a central entity in any economy of any country. So there has been a lot of resistance. Similarly, we cannot just simply say that, okay, Web3 will be there in just 4 or 5 years. No, because the current internet, it has been checked, validated by millions and billions of people. It is very much in a working condition. So I don't think so that it is very easy to replace the current existing architecture with the blockchain enabled. Although there are a lot of efforts, for example, in the cryptocurrency domain or in other domains, there are a lot of developments of even the banks are adopting blockchain as a future, and even IBM and big companies, they are investing hugely on blockchain, but still there is a long way to go because of the technical issues. For example, one technical issue that we face in blockchain is transaction speed. When you make a transaction, there are millions of transactions being handled by Visa or MasterCard, and transactions are just being done in few seconds, a lot of transactions. But with the blockchain, when you are replacing that central entity, third party, you are now relying on any other mechanism, which is basically a consensus mechanism. If you are talking about the public blockchain, it takes 10 minutes or few minutes to validate that because of the underlying architecture. So your transaction speed is not quicker than
the regular transaction. Yeah. So
yes,
it has its own issues, of course, that needs to be handled, like speed and so on. So it's a long way to go, perhaps, but
yes.
I think a lot of work is to be done before we actually see this enabled in future, maybe 5 years to 7 years, who knows. Thank you for your comment on that. Now another question is on something making machine intelligent or network intelligent, okay, which is cognitive radio networks. So cognitive is like thinking capabilities. What you're saying is radio networks can think. So would you throw some light on that?
Yes. So it's cognitive. We can define cognitive radio networks in many aspects. But just to simplify, that when your mobile, let's say you are on a call, and when you go to the basement, your signals get fade, and the call gets suddenly dropped. But when you enable the cognitive capability in the mobile phone, this will help the mobile phone to play with its transmission and reception parameters, and the mobile phone itself can interact with the environment, external environment, and based upon that feedback, they can take decisions. So that is about cognitive radio networks. Means the mobile phone or the radio communication network will be interacting with the external environment and try to adopt itself by getting the feedback. So that is cognition in one aspect.
All right. So it's going to be feedback going to be incorporated into the system, communication system, or into the radio networks. It's amazing. So do you think any applications around it? What could be future application of cognitive radio network?
There are several. Even the standards are being developed. For example, one application is to utilize the wireless radio spectrum. Whatever we are using in wireless domain, for example, when we try to open the door of our car with the key, there is a wireless signals that propagates. When we watch television, we are receiving the signals wirelessly. When we use the Wi-Fi, or when we use the satellite network, or when we use the mobile phone, so all these are wireless communication networks. So these wireless communication networks, they are basically relying on a medium, and that medium is radio frequency. So that radio frequency is basically a natural resource, like other natural resources, such as gold, minerals, and other things. So these natural resources, like wireless radio spectrum, they are not in abundance. For example, we have a fixed spectrum available by the nature, and it goes from kilohertz, megahertz, gigahertz, and terahertz. The way it works is that we have the Federal Communication Commission, FCC in USA, we have Ofcom in UK, we have PTA, Pakistan Telecommunication Authority in Pakistan. They all regulate the wireless radio spectrum, and then they assign the wireless radio spectrum, the chunk of the frequency bands, to the mobile network operators, and then they start building their network. So basically, radio network says that if there is any inefficiency or underutilization of the frequency wireless radio spectrum, try to utilize it efficiently. So cognitive radio network or cognitive radio nodes are the second name of improving the performance of the existing wireless communication paradigm in all the areas. And we have different standards developed. For example, we have IEEE 802.22 TV wide space network, where we have the frequencies of TV band, and it says that let's say if someone is not utilizing those TV channels, why not start using those channels and building your own communication network? So there are a lot of applications of cognitive radio there in the market.
All right, so we have some questions. We can take a few questions from our audience. One question from Mr. Nurzamai saying how it is possible for a business student like accounting to have a career in blockchain technology. Is it possible?
Yes, it is possible, but if you are going for blockchain developer and you don't have an expertise in programming languages, definitely you need to put some extra effort so that you bridge that gap. So even business oriented people or having background in the business studies, they can start working on blockchain, but they need to develop some basic understanding of the computer systems and programming languages and all the skills. Or they can also go for, there are some commercial aspects and financial aspects of the blockchain systems. It's not all about, the technical things, the building applications and designing applications. So if you feel that you are more comfortable on the business side aspect, you can work in that area.
Oh, so what you're trying to say is, like, if you cannot be a blockchain programmer, like writing the code, you can at least understand the application of blockchain in the business you're doing. So if you're an accountant and you are handling debit and credit and so sort of like bookkeeping things, so you can read more about how this bookkeeping can be done in a blockchain. So get the sense of the technology and try to comprehend that technology application in the things you do. So an accountant can do it, and maybe other business professions can do it. Even perhaps tomorrow, I'm just thinking wild, doctors can do it. I mean, there's EMR, like electronic medical record. I mean, that can also be one of the potential usage of blockchain. And once they want to build blockchain application, they need developers and they need the people who know the business. So they need doctors who can actually give that information to a developer. So understanding the blockchain technology, no matter in any domain you are, it's useful. But of course, programming would become a bit technical. All right, great, thank you. One more question I have here from Hasnain, that today we can get back to banks for any dispute to claim for online transaction. How this is covered in blockchain? For example, if you buy something by mistake, you enter the address wrong, you never will be able to claim.
Yes. So if you look at a few existing currently working blockchain systems like Bitcoin or Ethereum, there are proper mechanism for that. Even there is a phenomenon which we call as double spending. So double spending is like that. Let's say I make a transaction of some Ethereums or Bitcoins, and that transaction is still undergoes in the mining process, and then I use the same balance and make another transaction. So I double spend. So that is a problem. I'm double utilizing the assets that I have. So in order to deal with that, there are a particular mechanism. There is a block delay. When we can ensure that the block is the part of that blockchain, we will wait for certain number of blocks after that block, 5 blocks or 10 blocks, and then that block can be considered as a permanent part of the blockchain. Similarly, there are other technical solutions to this problem as well. Now, if one of the feature of blockchain is that when you make a transaction in a blockchain, that transaction cannot be reversed. That feature makes blockchain transparent, auditable, and one cannot disown what they have done. So issues like tampering can be resolved with that issues, but definitely when you make a wrong transaction, you cannot reverse that transaction. Okay, that is a part of the ledger. Now, in order to reverse that transaction, you need to make another transaction, or the other party has another transaction to reverse that transaction. But everything will be recorded. That is the feature that blockchain has. So I hope I answered that question.
So basically, if you make a mistake, you can correct your mistake, but through another entry. So you can't amend it, but you can make a new entry that will actually counter the entry you had done before. And this is how it is corrected. All right. Now, a few questions from my side remaining. Do you attribute your success to someone?
To Hazrat Mufti Muhammad Naeem Memon Sahab, and to my parents and to my sisters.
All right. So it's the whole network that have been praying for you, perhaps.
Yes.
Yeah. So you think like this is only prayers, or they give you space, or whenever you hit a failure or a roadblock?
Definitely, they not only prayed, but they also provided moral support and facilitation. For example, sisters and parents, when they help you, they encourage you. There are a lot of things within a family, and you're a spiritual mentor, so all these things matters. And even right now, I need cooperation from my kids and from wife. So definitely
to hit your next big award, perhaps. So if any advice, general advice you want to give to students and professionals, what would be that advice?
That advice will be focus on your work. Do not go for the unethical practices. Try to do your work with complete honesty, with the principles guided by the ethical paradigm and the religion and the the best practices. Do not compromise on standards, or do not compromise on principles. Try to focus on the straight path.
All right, so we have a few questions left from audience. Dr. Asif, he has a question. He says, how blockchain technology can help in communication systems, and on which layer of OSI model? Very technical question, perhaps. Yeah.
So basically, let me give you an example of wireless radio spectrum. So for example, wireless radio spectrum is managed by the regulatory body. In Pakistan, we have PTA, Pakistan Telecommunication Authority. Now, when they assign the spectrum, they assign the spectrum in a static manner. And they make an auction, and let's say Ufone or Mobilink try to participate in that auction, and then they buy the small chunk of the auction with arbo rupaye, with millions of billions of rupees, and then they build their network. Now this spectrum assignment is static, okay? And even if the Ufone or Mobilink or any other cellular company, their users are not using that particular portion of the spectrum, okay? That spectrum is underutilized, and nobody is using that precious resource. So what can be done is that if we use blockchain and say that, okay, these cellular companies can further resell their wireless radio spectrum, and users can buy those spectrum on short-term basis, for example, for hours, for minutes, or even for days. And then they use that spectrum. That will open new business model, and that will facilitate the whole complex procedure of spectrum auction, buying and selling. So developed countries are focusing on making strategies to buy and sell wireless radio spectrum on a short-term basis. So this is the answer to the first question, that how one can use blockchain in, let's say, in communication network. I just gave an example of the wireless radio spectrum buying and selling. Secondly, for the OSI layers, we have different layers. We have different layered model in the blockchain system as well. For example, we have the lower layer. The lower layer is we have the hardware, underlying hardware like GPUs or CPUs. Even blockchain can run on your mobile phone. You can have wallets. You can have accounts. It can run on your simple laptop or computer, and it can also have the dedicated devices as well. Now, the nodes have different roles. The nodes can have a mining role as well.
You mean blockchain nodes? You mean blockchain nodes?
It can be a minor node. It can be just simply a simple participating node. So depending upon the nature of that node, different layers will invoke. So when, let's say, if I'm using a simple blockchain on a blockchain node, so all the layers will be there. For example, when I will be using the wallet application or any distributed application or any other application, I will be using the top layer, the top OSI layer, presentation or session, or the upper layers of the OSI model. And when my blockchain node will be communicating any transaction, it will be using the network layer, underlying network layer to interact with the peer-to-peer nodes at the back end. And when I will be using, let's say, Ethereum virtual machine, if I'm using any Ethereum wallet, so I will be using virtual that EVM virtual machine on my blockchain node. And when my blockchain node will be using the processing capabilities or the memory capabilities, then I will be using the physical layer of the OSI model. So there is a mapping between the blockchain layers and OSI layer. So I think I answered this question.
Very good. We have one more question here, which is, I'm a graduate from Madrasa, and I have learned recently Python, Linux, and cybersecurity fundamental concepts. I want to make a career in cybersecurity. Is that possible? And what do you advise him?
Yes, it is possible. So first, try to explore different certifications. If you are unable to do a master's in cybersecurity, try to go for different certifications in blockchain. In cybersecurity. There are a lot of free courses available. There are a lot of courses available on YouTube even as well. So try to do those certification and courses, and this will help you to build your knowledge.
We have one more question from Dr. Asif. So the question from Dr. Asif is about Tera Hertz. And Tera Hertz, he says, like, how we can use Tera Hertz wireless system for biological cells.
Okay. So basically, we had a project. The lead of that project was Dr. Alan Davy. And one of my colleagues, Dr. Simon Food, was working on that project on Tera Hertz communication. So what they were doing was that was a European project. And you have data centers. In the data centers, you have north-south, east-west traffic, okay? And you have hundreds of thousands of servers and storage devices, and you have plenty of wires there. So their project was basically to remove those wires and try to make the data center itself wireless. And they work on that. So their work was on using the wireless radio spectrum band, Tera Hertz band, in the context of data center network. Now, one can use the same Tera Hertz band for nano communication networks or biological networks, and there are very prominent researchers, for example, Professor Aina faculties of Georgia Tech, and there are other researchers as well that are using the Tera Hertz band for targeted drug delivery within the body. For example, when we take the drug, it is not targeted. So with we use these wireless signals for not only for invoking the targeted drug delivery, but also to communicate with those some sensors, some implantable devices that are there on the patient's body. So that can be one usage of the Tera Hertz band. And when we go into further that, the signal, the signal that we use, it's a different signal within the body. We have chemical phenomena that are considered as signals. So the signal model within the body is different from what we are using in Tera Hertz band or in cellular communication networks. So there's a whole domain. I'm not an expert in biological networks or nano communication networks, so I cannot further comment on that, but there are a lot of people, for example, Professor Aina faculties and other researchers, they are working on that area.
All right, so there seems to be exciting applications around medical health and the human health around in the coming days on these new Tera Hertz kind of communication networks, I would say. Thank you very much. I think it was a pleasure having you with us on Edilume Master Talk, and have a great day ahead to you, Dr. Mubashir. It was really, really a pleasure having you with us.
Thank you so much for this invitation. It was nice to talk with you. Take care.
Right. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.